Hi there, this is Mole and Dinarios here on the coast of Turkey near Jeddah, and we're going to do some more Latin vocabulary, and I'm reading from Arnold's copious and critical English to Latin dictionary, and hopefully this will work better. I'm streaming on Twitch and then I'm going to move it across to YouTube because YouTube was doing some funny things with my video and turning it on its side. So we will see if this works better. So let's have a look at the words for today. From Riddle and Arnold's copious and critical English to Latin dictionary, which you can find at books.google.com, and you have to search for it with that name or you'll get some other dictionary. So accede is the word to start with. Accede. Accedere aliqui rei, or accedere ad aliquid. Accedere aliqui rei, or accedere ad aliquid. For example, to accede to a plan, as in to agree to it, to give in. As opposed to abhorrere a re, which is much stronger than the English opposite of that. Abhorrere a re. Astipulari aliqui, or to assent to, sentire cum aliquo, sentire cum aliquo, in the sense of to approve of, aliquid probare, aliquid probare. Annuere, to nod your assent. Annuere, in an absolute sense, or with the accusative, annuere. So that's the closest Latin to the English idea of to nod, in agreement. To accede. To accede to an opinion. Sententiae assentiri, sententiae assentiri, or to receive it favorably. Sententiam accipere, sententiam accipere. To accede to anybody's opinion. And that noise you can hear in the background is a big shipbuilding yard right behind me. I'll show you what's around me at the end of this stream so you can see where I am. But over there, right behind me, is a shipbuilding yard. But I'm here by the beach. It looks very nice here, but when you turn around, it's very industrial. So, sententiam accipere, to receive it favorably. To accede to anybody's opinion, aliquius sententiam ascensione comprobare, to approve of it. Aliquius sententiam ascensione comprobare. To follow it, aliquius sententiam sequi, aliquius sententiam sequi. Ad aliquius sententiam accedere, to accede to, ad aliquius sententiam accedere. And then to accede to an opinion, for example, transire in aliquius sententiam. And there are many ways to say this in Latin. We're going to go through them now. Transire in aliquius sententiam, or concedere in aliquius sententiam, concedere in aliquius sententiam, discedere in aliquius sententiam, discedere in aliquius sententiam, pedibus ire in aliquius sententiam, pedibus ire in aliquius sententiam, or just ire in aliquius sententiam, ire in aliquius sententiam. For example, this is all used in political language, for example, for a senator passing to the side of him whose opinion he supports, in this Old English of the dictionary, which was written in the end of the 1700s. Transire, implying that a different opinion was at first entertained, that the person had one opinion and moved across to another opinion. frequently happens in politics. So the Romans have a lot of words about this because the Romans were very political, and certainly the language we have that's come down to us from the Romans, a lot of it deals with politics, and so we have a lot of political language, and that therefore a much wider range of expression. Whereas perhaps we have a less wide range of expression for example, picking fruit, just because the authors didn't write about that. But the Romans would have been speaking about it in the countryside. Not to accede to an opinion. Sententiam repudiare. Sententiam repudiare. English, repudiate. Abhorrere a re. Abhorrere a re. Assensum cohibere a re. Assensum cohibere a re. Se ab assensu sustinere. Se ab assensu sustinere. Assensum. Assensum. I've done something here with the thing. One moment. What have I done? Assensum retinere. Assensum retinere. And to accede to a league. Ad societatem accedere, or ad societatem se applicare, to join a group, for example. So that is accede. And I'm going to go on to the next word, accelerate. Accelerate. Accelerare aliquid. Accelerare aliquid. To endeavor to bring anything about quickly. I love this word, endeavor, to try. Is a bit boring. To endeavor to bring anything about quickly. Maturare aliquid, or with the infinitive, the idea of not to put off anything which should be done now. In other words, not to procrastinate. But ad maturare is only the equivalent of to bring anything to its conclusion, to its maturity. Repraesentare aliquid, to execute anything without delay, even before the time. Repraesentare aliquid. Praecipitare aliquid, to accelerate it too much. To accelerate his departure or journey, maturare iter, or accelerare iter. To hasten to act, to set out, sorry, to hasten to set out. Properare proficisci. Properare proficisci. Or to set out in good time, well and early. Mature proficisci. Mature proficisci. To accelerate one's arrival. Maturo venire. Maturo venire. To accelerate one's ruin. Maturare sibi exitum. Maturare sibexitum, with the elision. Maturare sibexitum. To accelerate a man's ruin. Praecipitantem impellere. Praecipitantem impellere. And then we have one more entry, acceleration, which is just acceleratio or maturatio. And these are both found in the texts, 2nd century texts anyway. Acceleratio and maturatio. Of course, the absence of a word doesn't mean that the Romans didn't have it. For example, we have a lot of verb forms where bits are missing from the verbs and not attested in the literature, because we don't have an enormous amount of Roman literature. It doesn't mean that the Romans didn't have the full verb. So when you are learning from a textbook and get given incomplete verb tables, it doesn't mean that the verb was incomplete necessarily, although sometimes it was, and the Romans did write an enormous amount about Roman grammar. The Kyle has the volumes of Roman grammarians, and there's an enormous amount of material about the language, sort of meta information that the Romans wrote about it themselves, and we often use that a lot in reconstructing Latin. because it is, after all, a dead language, and we receive it from the dead words of the authors, written on walls, in books, on tombstones, and in places like the papyri of Herculaneum, and so on and so forth. So that's it. I'm going to put this ebook reader down now, and then I'm going to show you where I am, as promised. So, I'm not going to be in this picture. I'm going to be on the other side of the camera, and I'm going to pick up the tripod and turn it so you can see what's going on. Hopefully without too much juddering. I'll try to be as stable as I can. I am not a filmographer or anything like that, so we try to keep it level. So there's a little caravan here, I don't know if you can see it. That's used as a cafeteria, it looks like. It's got some little space outside with a barbecue. There's the beach. That's the direction I came from. Coming down those mountains was not easy. And then this is the little town on the outskirts of Jeddah. Can't remember its name. Let's go back a bit. I'm not sure what's displaying on the screen, so I'm just going to go back so that you can see what's going on. And then there is the shipbuilding yard, and I can see a new shiny yacht there just poking up above the wall, but it's all looking a bit rough really. And that's what we have. And I can even put this up high and we can see what's going on that I can't see at all. I don't know what the view looks like from up here. I'll find out afterwards. So what I've done is I've put the tripod up really high. Alright, that's the conclusion of the live stream. But before I go, couple of words, if you are still with me. latinum.substack.com. All the stuff there is free. If you scroll down all the options at Substack, if you log on to latinum.substack.com, you put in your email address, and then you scroll down to the very bottom and you click free, and you get access to everything. Everything there is free, unless you want PDF compilations, and then you can only get them if you subscribe. But it's the same material, just a bit easier to get it in one go. And not everything is PDF'd yet, but as I go, I am compiling the PDFs as the lessons get into chunks of 50. I put them into a PDF for download. You can support me at Patreon, of course, Latinum Patreon, and I really appreciate that. That enables me to keep going and to live, basically. Plus the subscribers at Substack, thank you very much. It's really appreciated. And so you can do either, or none at all. But if you want to access my audio material at Patreon, you do have to subscribe. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll try to do this every day if there's internet reception. And a couple of days ago there was no reception, couldn't do it. Depending on the weather and so on and so forth. Alright, bye for now. Let's see if I can end the stream. End stream.